Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this a beautiful blanket. This is absolutely beautiful. Now you can do this in one colour, or you can do each one in a different colour. You can do each row in a different colour. It's up to you. I've done mine in straight lines. You can do this in a square, but I've done mine in straight lines and I'm going to show you how to do it. So you can make this blanket as wide as you like. Mine is 40 inches wide and it is 36 inches high. You can make it as wide or as long as you want it to be. So what I did with the border is just a row of these little puff stitches. I put the puff stitch with the fan in between, and it's the same way that you do it in the blanket, like this. Now don't think that this is difficult. It isn't. It's really quite easy once you get the hang of it. It's one row of a fan and one row with your puff stitch and your chain, one row of fans, then your puff stitch, then your fan on the top, and I'll show you how to do this. It's really pretty, it's beautiful. Make it as big as you like. Use any yarn that you want to use, it's up to you. And use the hook size. It tells you on the label of the yarn that you've chosen to make it with. You can use any yarn that you want. Now I'm going to do a chain. So I'm going to do my chain in sets of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One extra stitch. Just one extra stitch. Now if you're like me sometimes and you get distracted and you've done your foundation chain, if you've got to, we need to finish this on a double crochet, and if you've got a few extra stitches, then just pick them out. Just loosen up the end of your tail and just pick them out if you've got too many stitches. So into the second stitch in the chain, count 1, 2. Don't count the loop on the hook. Don't count the loop on the hook. Count 1 and 2. You're going to do a UK double crochet. Just pull through, yarn over and come through the 2 stitches. Now we're going to skip 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Into the 4th stitch. So skip 3. We've got, that one's got a stitch in. 1, 2, 3. Into the 4th one, you're going to put 8 treble crochets. If you're in the USA, that's a double crochet, but if you're in the UK, it's a treble crochet. I do like to say both terms for the stitches. A lot of people in the USA watch my videos as well. So into the 4th stitch, you're going to put 8 treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what I'm going to show you is, as you put 8 in, the next stitch gets stretched and pulled inside there. So when you count your skip 3, make sure you pull your fan back and count that stitch. So I've done 4, I've got another 4 to do into the same stitch, and you'll see that stitch next to it start to disappear. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can see it's disappearing away inside there. And 1 more, that's 8. So when you skip 3 stitches, make sure you pull that fan and count that stitch there. 1, 2, 3. then do a double crochet into the next stitch, a double crochet, and it looks like that. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, then do a fan into the next stitch. Put 8 treble crochets into that stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now remember and pull the fan back so you can count that stitch there that's been taken in by the fan. That's a stitch. So 1, 2, 3, then do a double crochet. Skip 3, then do a fan. Skip 3, double crochet. Skip 3 and do a fan. Skip 3 and double crochet. You should finish on a double crochet on your row. Done the last fan in my row. I'm going to count 3. Remember and pull the fan back. 1, 2, 3, and into the last stitch I'm going to put a double crochet. So into your last stitch I'm going to do a double crochet, and that's my foundation done, and that's row 1. Row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Now the puff stitch is 4 times around your hook. You're going to pull your stitch up to about this size. Wrap your yarn around your hook and go into that double crochet there. Pull your yarn through, so that's 1. Yarn over, that's 2, and through there and pull through. Yarn over again, that's the 3rd time you've done your yarn over, and through, pull your yarn through, and 1 more. Yarn over and through and pull. Now you're going to do yarn over and come through all of those stitches and then chain 1. That makes your puff stitch. Now we're going to chain 7. Chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now you're going to go over to the double crochet that is in between your fans, over to this double crochet. Your chain is going to go right over. You're going to put 1 puff stitch, 1 chain, and 1 puff stitch. So yarn over, a little bit fiddly because you've got that big chain on there. Put your yarn over and go in to that double crochet. Pull your yarn through and pull it up, so that's 1. Yarn over, through, pull through, that's 2. Yarn over into the same stitch, pull up a loop, that's 3. Yarn over and pull through, that's 4. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on your hook plus the 1 that's a chain. That's 9 altogether. You're going to put your yarn over and come through all of those stitches, not that one, these ones here. Pull through. You've got 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and come through both of those loops. You'll see that again in a minute. Chain 1. Now into the same stitch, make another puff stitch. This is called a puff stitch. So yarn over and go into the stitch and pull your yarn through and pull it up. That's 1. Yarn over, through, pull it through. That's 2. Yarn over, pull through. That's 3. Yarn over and pull through. That's 4. So we've got 8 stitches, 8 loops of the puff plus that 1 stitch. So yarn over and come through all the loops of the puff stitch, and you've got 2 left. Yarn over and pull through. Now we're going to chain 7 to get across to this point here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right over your fan, just skip it, and we're going in between the 2 fans into that double crochet. We're going to put 1 puff stitch, 1 chain and 1 puff stitch. So yarn over your hook first and through the double crochet and pull up. That's 1. Yarn over and through and pull. That's 2. Yarn over, through and pull. That's 3. Yarn over, through and pull. That's 4. Now that little knot's going to get hidden in there. So yarn over and you're going to pull through all of those loops. Yarn over and pull through. Just pull through. You're going to chain 1. So yarn over, we've done a chain 1 and we're going to do another puff stitch. So pull your yarn through, that's 1. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through, that's 3. Yarn over, pull through, that's 4. Yarn over and come through all of those loops. You've got 2 stitches left. Yarn over and pull through those 2. You're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to go over the fan and do a puff stitch, 1 puff stitch, 1 chain and 1 puff stitch, and that makes your little V-stitch puff. It makes your V-stitch puff stitch, and this is what we have. If you've got a longer chain, you just continue doing that. Do your puff stitch, 1 chain and a puff stitch, chain 7 and go across to your next section until you get to the end. You're going to chain 7 and put 1 puff stitch into your double crochet at the end of the row. And I'm crossing over to this double crochet on the end. I'm going to put 1 puff stitch in. So it's 1, yarn over, pull up, that's 2, 3 and 4. Yarn over through all of those. Got my 2 stitches left on. Yarn over and pull through. And that's what you have. So your third row, you'll start with a chain of 3. We're going to do a half, a fan, a half fan. So write down row 3 starts and finishes with a half a fan. So chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. Turn your work. So into the top of this puff stitch we're going to put 4 treble crochets. That chain of 3 makes number 5. So we're going to put 4 treble crochets all into that same stitch at the top of your puff. So yarn over and you're going to put 4 treble crochets in. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And your chain of 3 counts as your 5th one. You're going to go over to this fan. Now this fan has 8. Don't count the chains. Make sure you don't count those chain spaces down there. Just get the fan. Now I found myself, if you count the stitches in the fan, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to go through the middle of the fan. That way you're not accidentally counting this chain of 3. So if you go to the top end of your fan, count 1, 2, 3 and 4. Go into the space and you're going to put a double crochet through there. Now I'm doing this video a little bit slower so that the people that haven't done this before know how to do it. So do you remember what I said about the side? Double crochet, puff stitch, then your half fan, and the last row on this one coming back will finish with a double crochet. That is the 4 rows that you keep repeating. So we're going to jump right over to in between our puff stitches. We're going to put 8 treble crochets. We're going to do this part. We're going to put the fan into the top, and you can see here where I've locked my chain in, where I've locked it in to the top of there. So now we're going over here and we're going to build these fans. We'll lock the chain in and do a fan, lock the chain into that fan, and then make a fan inside your puff stitch. So if you're working along with me, we're going over into the puff stitches in between. You're going to put 8 treble crochets, UK treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. You're going to skip over to your fan. Now find the top of the stitches of the fan, count 1, 2, 3 and 4 and go into the space. So you've got 4 fans at this side and 4 at this side. Just be careful not to count your chain along the bottom here. That's why I count the top of these stitches 1, 2, 3 and 4 and go into the space. You're going to put a double crochet. Now I will advise to watch this video a couple of times. Watch it a couple of times, then do your chain in sets of 4 and then work along with me. If you work along with me, I'm doing the video as slow as I can so that you can work along at the same time. So we're going to jump all of these chains and put a fan in. We're doing 8 UK treble crochets into this space here. If you're in the USA, that's double crochets. So yarn over and put 8 treble crochets. Do your fan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Then move over to your next fan here and count 1, 2, 3, 4 and go into the space. Jump over and we're going in between here and put 8 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We're going to move over to the other fan and count 1, 2, 3, 4 and go into the space. So you're counting 4 into the middle of the fan with a double crochet, and on the top of this puff stitch you're going to put 5 treble crochets. The half fan has 5 treble crochets. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now you just remember at the other end we had the chain of 3 and that counted as the first one, and we put 4 in there. So this is what we have now. You've got your half fans and your puff stitches up the side. It's really pretty in the blue as well, and it's a lot chunkier. So you can make really small blankets with this, and you can make them as big as you like, as long as you're doing sets of 4 on your foundation chain. Now we're going to do chain 1 and turn. So we've done row 1, row 2 and row 3. Now row 4, you're going to do a double crochet into that top stitch. A double crochet. So we're going to be doing more chains. So we've done a double crochet and I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We've only done 4 because we're only going across the top of a half a fan, and you're going to put your puff stitch in between these fans. So yarn over and into the double crochet, pull up, that's 1, yarn over, pull up, that's 2, 3 and 4. Yarn over, pull through all those loops and you should have 2 loops left. Yarn over and pull through. Chain 1. Into the same stitch you're going to do another puff stitch. So that's 4 you have to pull up. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yarn over, come through all of those, puff stitch. 2 loops left. Yarn over and pull through. Now you're going to chain 7. We've got a full fan to cross over, so we're going to chain 7. We're going to do our puff V-stitch, chain 7, your puff V-stitch, chain 7 and your puff V-stitch, then chain 4 and do a double crochet at the corner of that half a fan. So I've done my last puff stitch, the V puff V stitch. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to double crochet into the very corner, the top corner of that half fan. And these are the 4 rows that you're going to keep repeating. These will be your 4 rows of repeat. So now what we'll do, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we start, put a double crochet into the top of that double crochet. So you remember that when we done this, we done a double crochet, a fan, a double crochet in a fan, a double crochet in a fan. So we're going to repeat that row now. These are the 4 rows that you're going to keep repeating. So these are the 4 rows that you'll rewind and watch and repeat over and over again. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip that chain, and in between here we're going to put our 8 treble crochets. Just go straight over and do your 8 treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to lock this chain in with it. So on the top of the fan, count your stitches 1, 2, 3 and 4 and go in between there. So you're going into the middle of the fan, 1, 2, 3, 4 and do a double crochet. I just find it easier to count from this side in. Straight over to your puff stitch, do your fan, 8 treble crochets, 1, 2, across to this double crochet and put a double crochet in the top of that. Chain 1 and turn. So now I'm going to put my puff stitch. So I've done my double crochet row, so I'm going to do my puff stitch row. So it'll be a puff stitch, chain 7, then do your puff stitch, your V-stitch into the middle, chain 7, do your puff stitch, chain 7, do your puff stitch, chain 7 and do 1 puff stitch, and then you'll repeat that half fan row. So instead of me keep going on and on and on in the video, just rewind the video to the puff stitch row and follow the puff stitch row, then the fan row, and then the next row. You've got 4 rows and then you just keep repeating it. You repeat those 4 rows that I've just showed you, that fan, the puff, the half fan, and then that puff row. Then you'll start again on your fan, your puff, your half fan, and then this fan row again. Just keep repeating that and you will get a beautiful blanket like this. This is the one I've done in all the different colours. Now I'll show you how to put a border on all the way around your blanket. You can just leave it like that if you want to, but if you don't, I'll show you how to put a border down the sides. So I'll finish this row with my fan of 5. I'm going to chain 1, just the 1, and I'm going to do another 5 just to bring me around the corner. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to pop over here to where the double crochets are. I'm just going to put a double crochet in there. Just push it in and do a double crochet. I'm going to move over to the joint where the fan and the puff stitch is, and I'm going to put my large fan in. I'm going to put my 8 treble crochets in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. I'm going to do a double crochet into this section between the puff and that fan. Just push my hook in and do a double crochet. I'm going to move to here between the fan and the puff stitch and do another fan of 8 down the side of my blanket. That is the side of my blanket. Is I'm going to try and keep the corner here and the corner up here the same. So in here I'm going to put 5 treble crochets. I'm going to chain 1 and then put 5 into the corner. So into this last joint here, I'm going to put 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm just going to skip over this puff stitch and put another 5 in this corner. 1. So I've done my next 5, and into that chain space I'm going to put a double crochet, and it's going to pull my little fan around. And what I'll do is I'll put a corner in the next round. I'm going to skip right over to where these 2 puff stitches are, and I'm going to put 8 treble crochets in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. A double crochet in down here. Move to the next set of puff stitches. Now I'm going to do another round, and I'll be putting my puff stitches and my chains across all the way around the blanket. So I'll put a fan in where the puff stitch is, a double crochet in where this upside down fan is, then a fan, a double crochet, a fan, a double crochet, a fan, a double crochet. Then I'll do my 2 sets of 5 around the corner, and then I'll do my fans up the side the same way I did on this side here. I'll put my fans in up this side. I'm going to put another round on, and just like I did with this one, because on this one I put 2 rounds on to my blanket, just the same way as I did with that other one. I've got my fan stitches in there, and I'll show you how to do that. So I've done my 5, and I've done a chain 1, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of this fan here. So what I'm going to do is I want to put 2 sets of puff stitches in this corner. So I'm going to pull this stitch up, yarn over, and do my puff V stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull through, and that 1 stitch, I'll move over a bit, chain 1, and I'm going to put another puff stitch in there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull through. This time I've got 2 loops on. You only have 1 loop when you do that first puff stitch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another 2 puff stitches in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull through all your loops, pull through and chain 1. So that's going to make 1 fan on this side and 1 fan here, just like I've done on this blanket. The same way I've done here, I've put 2 sets of puff stitches in, and I've got 2 fans on my corner. So that's, I've got 1 more puff stitch to put in. 1, oops. So I've got 1 more puff stitch, and that'll have 4. 1, 2, 3, and this one is my 4th. 2, 3, and 4, and they will fit in. So I've got my 2 sets of puff stitch. I want to chain 4 over to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. and I'm going to make a puff stitch in between these two. Do my V puff stitch, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then yarn over through them, chain 1 and put another puff stitch in. It's a little bit tighter in here. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Pull through. You've got 2 loops. It's getting bright and sunny outside, so I'm going to chain 7 to get me over to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and over we go, and do your puff V stitch just like we did. We're going to do that all the way around the blanket. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Through those loops, chain 1, 1, 2, it's getting a little bit tangled in here, 3 and 4. Pull through, chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and move to the next space. I'll chain 7, move to the next space, chain 7, chain 7. At the corners you're chaining 4. Put 2 sets of puff stitches in, and then chain 4, then you'll chain 7 over all the way around your blanket. So once I've got that done, I'll come back and show you what to do next. All around done on my blanket with my puff stitches and my chains. Now this round is the last round that I'm going to do. I did my last chain of 4 and I slip stitched to that puff stitch there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That's going to be my first treble crochet. I'm going to do my first fan into this corner, so that chain of 3 counts as your first one. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now I put a chain in between these 2 sets of puff stitches. I'm going to double crochet into there. Then I'm going to put my next fan into the next set to do the corner. So that's 8 treble crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now this row is just like the rows on the blanket. So this little chain, I'm just going to put a double crochet down here, just to pin that in down there. And that's my corner done. Got my 2 fans in my corner. Now we're going to work it just the way we did here. We'll pin down the chain with a double crochet and we'll put our fan in to the puff stitches, and then we'll do a double crochet, do a fan, and then pin that down with our double crochet. So we'll get this next fan done. Put 8 treble crochets into your 8 treble crochets into your puff stitch here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 8. Then we'll pin this down. We'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in between your fan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you're not counting that chain down in there. In between your fan. Then over to your puff stitch. Then do your double crochet in between your fan to hold that in. Then do your puff stitch all the way around your blanket. When you get to the corner, you put your fan in, a double crochet into the middle, and then a fan in, because you've got 2 sets in this corner. Double crochet that one down, put your fan in, then double crochet that chain down, just like we done on the blanket. So I'm going to work this last round all the way around, locking those chains in to the top of these fans all the way around. So welcome back to the video. Now I've done all around the edges and the corners of my blanket. This is what the back of the blanket looks like. It's not what you would really call a reversible. Most of the puff pattern is on this side. Now this is what my blue sample looks like. So as you can see with the blue and the white, the pattern stands up much better in a one colour combination of blanket, in a one colour of yarn. And you can use any yarn for this. Just use the hook size it tells you on your label. Now I wanted to do this little mixed pink so you can see what it looks like in variegated yarn. And like I said at the beginning, it's so much prettier just in the one colour, or even just a 2-colour combination of pink. It's really pretty, and I really think you should give it a try. I'm going to hold this up one more time and give this a try. Now again, 70% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. Now come on, please, it is free to subscribe to the channel. And if you click on the bell icon, then YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. And all the YouTubers really appreciate it when people take the time to subscribe to the channel. So thank you very much. So give this a try. Give it a try. I'm sure you're going to love it. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.